Hello everyone, and today I'll be reading a Muichiro Listener by me. So let's get into it. You are still washing the dishes when you call out to Muichiro, wanting him to help you. Muichiro, what are you doing? You call out to him, but you get no answer. So you sigh, finishing the dishes, and instead walking over to a sofa where your lover is. You go over to him, standing in the doorway, and to your surprise, you see that Muichiro was asleep on the couch. A deep sound of breathing, indicating that he has been asleep for a while. You can't help but laugh quietly at the scene in front of you. The sweet look on Muichiro's face gives you a pleasant smile and warmth. You walk quietly in front of him and puts your hand on his head, whispering with a sweet voice, Muichiro, darling, wake up. And to your surprise, Muichiro starts to move, as if he felt your sweet voice. Muichiro slowly sat up and looked at you with deep and sad eyes, as if he was just awakened from a beautiful dream, and was very confused. You feel quite guilty about that, but then slowly the look of sadness goes away from his eyes and melts into a much softer one, as he slowly came to his senses and saw you by his side. Muichiro was embarrassed, and he blushed. Huh? Oh, are you here, Ryan? He muttered softly. You smiled at him, while you moved your hand slightly to touch Muichiro's cheek that was flushed and hot after his deep sleep. Oh, Muichiro, you're so cute when you're sleeping. You giggled a little bit, and you felt your heart warm up with love. You continued to caress his cheek and asked, You've been sleeping for a while. Did you have a bad dream? You sat down next to Muichiro, who looked straight at you with loving eyes. Muichiro sighed and said, No, I didn't see anything. You smiled at his answer and stroked his hair. Muichiro closes his eyes to enjoy the moment and the feeling of your hands on his hair before it breaks the silence. Ryan, can I ask you something? You tilted your head, curious about his question. You slowly nodded your head and asked him, What's your question, Muichiro? As you spoke quietly, you put your hand on his leg. He blushed again after you caressed him. Muichiro sighing quietly and muttering nervously, You know what? He put his hands on your face, gently turning your head to face him. You know I love you, right? He whispered quietly. Sometimes he felt like he was not doing a good job at this, like he was just not good enough for you. And that's why he wanted to reassure himself that you knew that you loved him. Your heart started to beat a little bit faster as you looked in his eyes, and he nodded, holding his hands and squeezing them gently. I know that, and you know that I love you, don't you? He nodded, smiling a little bit. Muichiro slowly brought his face closer to yours after, touching your lips with his. The sensation of your lips made his head spin, and he felt his breathing grow deeper and deeper as he closed his eyes. The kiss may have lasted only a few seconds, but for the two of you, it felt like an eternity of its own. He broke off the kiss as he was blushing and smiling with his eyes closed, and when you opened your eyes, you saw him staring at you with a deep look of tenderness and love. He started blushing a little bit. You didn't expect him to kiss you. Yes, the two of you were married, but you married quite fast. And being so close with one another and doing intimate things. It took a lot of time for the two of you, and they were quite rare. A moment that only happened maybe weekly, or twice a week if you were lucky. But right now, perhaps you were extremely lucky, because then he whispered, "I love you. I love you too." Then the two of you were silent, the only sound being the clock ticking on the wall, and you slowly leaned your head on Michiro's chest and let out a soft sigh. It felt so good to be loved by the one you love. Michiiro softly put his arms around you and kissed you on the forehead. Both of you stayed silent for a long time before he slowly moved you to his lap and started to comb your hair, as he usually did. He took in your scent, the smell of your hair and your perfume, and he held you tightly in his arms while your head was on his chest, the sound of the beating heart filling the silence and making him smile. As he ran his fingers through your hair, you let out a soft sigh again, your eyes slowly drooping, and you had a feeling that you were about to fall asleep, much like Michiiro and the way you found him a couple minutes ago. "Keep going, Michiiro," you murmured softly to him, and he smiled, continuing to comb your hair. Your heart was pounding in your chest, and you liked when you were close and intimate with him, which really elevated the moment for you. But soon enough, as you continued to play with your hair in combat, you were falling asleep, and if you were to be honest, you were just so tired and so drained that you couldn't really do anything about it. But he didn't mind. In fact, he was quite happy to be able to bring you some peace. If you were to be honest, he felt quite guilty about leaving you to do the dishes on your own, and forgetting about them completely, falling asleep, but he'll make it up to you. And as you slowly fall asleep in his arms, he sits you down a while after, covering you with a blanket, and getting straight to the next task that you're about to start on, which was baking dinner. He will admit that it will not be as great as anything that you will cook, but he will do his best. If only so you could rest a while longer.